We all know the image, a pristine, unbroken ribbon of stone built by ancient emperors to lock out northern invaders. It is perhaps the most persistent architectural legend on Earth, a structure so massive that it is the only man-made object visible from the moon. But in 2003, China's first astronaut, Yang Liwei, confirmed the truth from orbit. Looking down at the planet, he reported that the Great Wall is actually entirely invisible from space. Back on the ground, the reality is just as fractured. The wall was never a single continuous structure, and for most of its history, it wasn't even built from stone. Even its strategic reputation is misleading. Its primary purpose, serving as a military barrier against northern incursions, was often a failure. If the wall wasn't a singular, invincible barrier, it forces us to look past the myths and examine the actual, fractured history of China's most famous landmark. The roots of this conflict aren't found in politics, but in geography. It begins with this line, the 15-inch Isohyet, which marks the exact limit of reliable rainfall for farming. To the south, the climate supported a vast, bureaucratic society built on irrigated agriculture. To the north lay the semi-arid grasslands, home to nomadic tribes who relied on a pastoral economy. Long before China was unified, early rival states were already building isolated, disconnected walls. These were often designed to fight each other, not just the northern nomads. When Emperor Qin Shi Huang finally united these states, he launched a ruthless campaign to connect these fragments into one northern border, fueled by the labor of millions of conscripts. The physical reality of this project was brutal. Most of it was built from rammed earth, not stone, using whatever soil could be packed into wooden frames and pounded solid. The human cost was so high that it sparked legends like that of Meng Dynasty, whose grief over her husband's death was said to have collapsed a section of the wall, exposing the bodies of the laborers buried within the foundations. This early version of the Great Wall was a desperate attempt to physically pave over an ecological boundary that simply couldn't be controlled. Because the wall was thousands of miles long, it was nearly impossible to fully man the entire line. Nomadic cavalry frequently found gaps or bypassed the garrisons entirely. To compensate, the Han Dynasty pushed the walls deep into the western deserts. They built through the Hexi corridor, attempting to safeguard the trade moving along the Silk Road. But walls alone rarely worked. Emperors often had to rely on hiken, a system of bribes, marriages, and financial tributes, to buy the peace the military fortifications couldn't provide. It wasn't until the Ming Dynasty that the empire abandoned these earth walls in favor of the massive stone and brick fortifications we recognize today. Yet even this massive Ming investment failed in 1644. The Manchu army bypassed the defenses simply because a Ming general opened the gates at Shanhai Pass and let them march through. The most expensive military fortification in history failed to provide the one thing it was designed for, absolute security. While the wall was an inconsistent military barrier, it succeeded as a psychological one. It became a powerful symbol of national identity and endurance. That status now draws millions of tourists to sites like Battling every year, creating a massive new threat to the structure's integrity. Visitors have carved their names and messages directly into the Ming Dynasty bricks, leaving permanent scars on the ancient masonry. Beyond tourism, the destruction is systemic. In the mid-20th century, government policies led to sections being dismantled for housing material, and today, illegal mining and theft continue to chip away at the ruins. In the West, nature is reclaiming the abandoned sections. Encroaching sandstorms are eroding the original Earth structures so quickly they may soon disappear entirely. Today, less than 1/3 of the 25,000-kilometer network remains in good condition. Preserving the Great Wall requires moving past the image of an invincible stone dragon. We have to recognize it for what it is today, a deteriorating archaeological site that depends on active conservation to survive.